Fan club drama, creepy songs, and more tacky merch than you could possibly imagine. Few rock bands know how to stir up scandal quite like Kiss. When it comes to merchandising opportunities, Kiss never turned down the chance to add a few extra zeros to their bank accounts, regardless of how silly it might have made them look. That said, when you consider their over-the-top costumes and garish on-stage personas, it's easy to see how the Kiss brand lends itself well to the world of comic books. In 1977, Marvel Comics brought the Demon, Starchild, Cat, and Space Ace to the pages of Marvel Comics Super Special No. 1. Not only that, but the cover claimed that Kiss's real blood had been used in the making of the comic book. On the suggestion of their management team, the band flew out to Marvel's plant and mixed their blood with ink intended for the comic. And while this might sound more like an urban myth than anything else, it's 100% true. Not only was footage taken during the process, but a notary public was also on hand to witness the band adding their blood to the red ink. Success didn't come easy for Kiss, as the band needed to convince the music industry of their star power. One of the group's biggest supporters in the earliest days, though, was a man named Bill Starkey. In the 1970s, Starkey discovered Kiss's music and quickly became a mega fan. Unhappy with what he believed to be the band's lack of recognition, he decided to co-found the Kiss Army Fan Club. Starkey and others rallied to promote Kiss to anyone and everyone, even running campaigns to get their music played on radio. As Starkey told the Indianapolis Star, "For me, Kiss is all about the music. It was never about the costumes. The whole idea behind the Kiss Army was to get them on the radio because we liked the songs." Starkey and the Kiss Army's efforts were eventually recognized by the band. He ended up meeting them, received a Kiss honorary member plaque, and was told that his hometown of Terre Haute, Indiana would serve as the official headquarters for the fan club.
People have offered me money for this crazy thing. I've been offered $10,000.
But then it all came crashing down. In 1976, the company responsible for Kiss merchandising sent Starkey a letter informing him that it was taking over the Kiss Army. The group turned the fan club into a money machine, making a reported $5,000 a day in membership fees, and Starkey didn't receive a single penny. Bands from Kiss's heyday loved to sing about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. While Kiss never ventured into the drugs part of the equation, they loved to croon about intercourse and everything associated with it. A few of their tracks headed deep into misogynistic terrain as well. And there's one particular song that's creepy even by the standards of the day. Christine 16 leaves nothing to the imagination. It's a song about an older man who's in love, or lust, with a 16-year-old girl called Christine. Written and sung by Gene Simmons, who was 28 years old at the time of the song's release, the lyrics feature such shocking imagery as a narrator watching Christine as she leaves school. While Kiss was far from the first rock band to sing about underage girls, this is one track that'll turn the stomachs of anyone who listens to it.
Both the Los Angeles Times and CBS News are both now reporting that Michael Jackson has died.
Even after Michael Jackson's death in 2009, the King of Pop's legend lived on. In 2011, an event dubbed Michael Forever, the tribute concert, was organized in Cardiff, Wales. One of the artists announced for the big show was Kiss, but MJ fans were having none of it. They protested against the rocker's inclusion on the bill due to controversial statements Gene Simmons had made about the child abuse allegations surrounding Jackson. Jackson's estate also weighed in, writing a letter to the organizers, Global Live Events, to express their disappointment in lieu of Simmons' comments. The uproar forced the organizers to take action. Speaking to CNN, Global Live Events then CEO Chris Hunt apologized on behalf of the organization and said, "Under the circumstances, we fully agree that even though Kiss is a band Michael admired, we have no choice but to rescind our invitation to them to appear in our tribute concert." One of Kiss's most infamous interviews took place during a 2012 appearance on South American TV. As the interviewer attempted to ask questions to the band, Paul Stanley noticed that the man was wearing an Iron Maiden shirt. Now, there doesn't appear to be any beef between the bands, but something about this irked Stanley.
Kiss is K-I-S-S. This does not spell Kiss.
The journalist tried to defuse the situation, suggesting that it wouldn't have been right to wear a Kiss t-shirt to an interview with the band. Before long, Gene Simmons got involved.
So we got a Kiss t-shirt in our...
One.
That's not gonna... I want to wear an Iron Maiden t-shirt.
The interview turned uncomfortable as the reporter attempted to proceed with the questions, but the band continued to make passive-aggressive remarks about the shirt and insult the interviewer. Eventually, the journalist was forced to take off the shirt and turn it inside out before Kiss finally played ball. Kiss's heyday remains the era in which Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, Peter Criss, and Ace Frehley all played together on the band's lineup. While other members have come and gone since then, this is still considered the iconic roster and the one most cherished by fans and pundits. But they haven't always gotten on. In Stanley's 2014 memoir, Face the Music, he accused both Criss and Frehley of being anti-Semites. Notably, both Stanley and Simmons are themselves Jewish. Stanley said that Frehley owned Nazi memorabilia and alleged that he had witnessed Criss committing several racist acts. Speaking to the New York Post, Stanley once again labeled his former bandmates as anti-Semites, stating, "It's based on years and years of interactions. It's not pulled out of thin air."
There certainly was anti-Semitism, and I think it's, I don't want to say rampant, but...
Frelly denied Stanley's claims in an interview with Vice, arguing, "Paul's cranky because he can't call me a drunk or a drug addict anymore. He can't say I'm unemployable. He can't say I don't show up because I do these days. So now he's grasping at straws just to grab headlines for his damn book." In 2014, Kiss received one of the ultimate accolades for any rock band. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Considering the prestige of the event, fans wondered if the original Kiss lineup would perform together on the night itself. Soon after, though, Frelly told a radio show that Stanley and Simmons had decided they would perform with the band's newer members, Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer, instead of getting the old crew back together. Chris also backed up Frelly's claims that all hopes of a reunion had been squashed. Simmons and Stanley denied Frelly and Chris's version of events, however, putting out an official statement saying that they'd wanted to celebrate the entire history of the band, with both past and present members. In addition, they said, "It is over 13 years since the original lineup has played together in makeup, and we believe the memory of those times would not be enhanced. Contrary to claims made through the media, we have never refused to play with Ace and Peter." Ultimately, Simmons and Stanley made the decision to not perform at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at all. Gene Simmons has never been one to err on the side of caution, especially when it comes to the things he says. Take, for instance, his 2014 interview with Songfacts. When asked if he still gets along with the original band members from Kiss, Simmons said no, before telling the interviewer that he can't stand people who feel sorry for themselves. He said, "My mother was in a concentration camp in Nazi Germany. I don't want to hear all about the world as a harsh place. She gets up every day, smells the roses, and loves life." In addition to this, Simmons made a number of highly contentious remarks about suicide. On his radio show 6 Cents with Nikki Sixx, Motley Crue's Nikki Sixx took umbrage with what Simmons had said, calling him moronic and suggesting that Simmons' words could have been damaging to people experiencing depression. Taking to Facebook, Simmons then walked back his comments and apologized, writing, "I was wrong and in the spur of the moment made remarks that in hindsight were made without regard for those who truly suffer the struggles of depression." Gene Simmons always loved to talk of his legendary escapades between the sheets. That is, before he married his now wife, Shannon Tweed.
"I'm the male of the species, and I went from famine to feast."
In a 2016 interview with The Sun, he insisted that he had been quite the Lothario when Kiss were in their prime. He said, "I didn't do drugs in the crazy times, but I did do sex. Did I sleep with 4,800 women? So they tell me. I did have the Polaroids to prove it, oh yes, but most of them were burned. Shannon and I got together with them and we had a ritual." Of course, these comments raise another question. Why was he holding on to all these photos of people for so many years? So what's the truth about Gene Simmons' relationship with Ace Frehley? Depends on the mood of the day, really. They've broken up and made up over and over in the years after Frehley's departure from Kiss. While neither man has ever been shy about letting loose in the press, Simmons' comments to Guitar World in 2019 enraged Frehley so much that he decided to shoot back with some eyebrow-raising comments about his former bandmate. During the interview, Simmons had mentioned how the door was open for Frehley and Peter Criss to do a few songs on the band's farewell tour, but added, "Could we depend on either Ace or Peter to do a full set, night after night? Not on your f***ing life." In a now-deleted Facebook post, Frehley laid into Simmons, accusing him of slander and suggesting that he was a sex addict. Then Frehley dropped another shocking allegation, writing, "The icing on the cake was when you groped my wife and propositioned her in Los Angeles at the Capitol Records building behind my back, which I only found out about several weeks later. She was planning on pursuing a suit against you, but I told her to call it off." Simmons didn't directly respond to Frehley's allegations, only telling the Los Angeles Times that he adores Frehley and Criss and respects what they did for Kiss. Accusations of selling out have always followed Kiss, as it seems there's never been an item the band would refuse to put their name on.
Can you put a dollar sign on the Kiss empire?
We make a living.
500 million.
When the group retired in 2023, many expected that the gravy train would continue in terms of licensing and merchandise, but no one could anticipate what would happen next. In April 2024, news broke that Kiss had sold its name, image, likeness, and music catalog to Pop House Entertainment in a deal worth a reported $300 million. Pop House released a statement at the time saying, "Our partnership will fuse the rich history and iconic status of Kiss with cutting-edge technology, allowing fans, now and in the future, to experience the band like never before." Truth be told, the deal shouldn't have surprised too many, since Pop House was the company behind ABBA's hologram show. Kiss had previously announced plans to have digital avatars of the group play concerts in 2027. It seems that the members of Kiss can't even agree on the state of rock and roll today. In a September 2014 interview with Esquire, Gene Simmons argued that there are no more opportunities for young musicians anymore. He blamed the fleeting interest of the audience and illegal file sharing, saying, "The death of rock was not a natural death. Rock did not die of old age, he was murdered, and the real culprit is that kid's 15-year-old next-door neighbor, probably a friend of his." Almost a decade later, Simmons' bandmate Paul Stanley was asked by Louder if he shared the same sentiment about rock. Stanley disagreed with Simmons' opinion, saying how his son plays in a rock band in Los Angeles and how their shows are always buzzing with people and excitement. He added that the genre has indeed changed and what was once popular before might not strike a chord now, but insisted that the genre will survive in the long run.